If your e-bike looks dead when you plug it in, the first thing to know is this: that symptom does not point to one part yet. It only tells you the power path failed somewhere. That could be the charger, the port, the battery pack, or a protection circuit inside it. So before you buy anything, watch the whole chain. One small break can make the entire bike seem powerless. Think of charging as a chain, not a single cable. Power starts at the charger, passes through the charge port, reaches the battery pack, and then the battery management system, or BMS, decides whether current is safe. After that, the controller and display can tell you what the bike thinks is happening. If any link breaks, the result can look the same from the outside. That is why diagnosis has to follow the path. Inside the battery, the problem can change meaning fast. The pack is not one big cell, it is a set of cell groups, plus protection electronics that watch voltage and safety conditions. So a battery that looks empty on the outside may actually be blocked by its own protection circuit, or it may have one weak section that changes the whole pack behavior. That is why the symptom alone is not enough. A charger does not just push power blindly. It needs a clean connection, and the battery side needs to be in a safe state to accept current. In other words, charging is a handshake. If the connection is unstable or the battery protection sees a problem, the flow can stay off even though everything is plugged in. So the question is not only is it connected, it is the system agreeing to charge? This is why the charge port matters so much. A dirty, bent, wet, or loose port can imitate a bad charger or a bad battery. The outside symptom stays the same, but the cause is completely different. So the first safe check is simple. Look closely at the connector and port for damage, debris, moisture, or a plug that does not sit firmly. That one close-up can save you from replacing the wrong part. Now move one step deeper. The BMS is the battery's protection gate. Its job is to stop unsafe charging when it sees a condition that could damage the pack. That means the battery may refuse charge even when the cells are not fully empty. If the protection system is blocking current, forcing more tests without evidence is the wrong move. The safer question is why the gate is closed, not how to overpower it. The display can still help here, even though it does not prove the battery is bad by itself. If the controller and display are getting unstable power, they may flicker, shut down, or show strange behavior that points back into the power path. That clue matters because the battery problem and the control problem can overlap. So read the display as evidence, not as a final verdict. It tells you where to look next. In a normal charge path, power moves in one clean direction. Charger to port, port to battery, battery to protection circuit, and then into the pack under control. In a fault, that flow stops, flickers, or branches off before it reaches the expected destination. That difference is the whole diagnostic logic. You are not chasing random symptoms. You are watching where the path breaks, and that tells you which side of the system deserves attention. Start with the safest inspection first, the visible outside parts. Look at the charger plug, the port, the cable, and any obvious damage on the battery shell or mounting area. Do not open risky parts yet, and do not order replacement parts just because the bike will not charge. At this stage, you are only collecting evidence. If the symptom is caused by a simple external issue, this is where you can catch it. Now watch the charger light. A change in the light can be useful evidence because it tells you the charger and battery are interacting in some way. But if the light does not change, that still does not prove the battery is dead. It keeps the charger, the port, and the battery side path in play. So treat the light like a fork in the diagnosis, not a final answer. It narrows the search, it does not finish it. Next, check how the battery seats on the bike. A rail problem, a weak latch, or a poor contact at the bike side connection can create the same no-charge symptom as a bad pack. That is why the contact boundary matters. The battery may be fine, but if the bike cannot make a solid connection, the system still fails. So inspect the seating path before you assume the pack itself is the root cause. Add the behavior clues to the picture. Intermittent lights, sudden dropouts, unusual heat, odor, or swelling all change the decision boundary. Those are not small details. They tell you the problem may be more serious than a loose plug. A flicker can suggest a connection issue, while heat or swelling pushes the decision towards stopping. So the display is only one clue. The full behavior of the bike matters too. This is where a lot of people waste money. They buy a battery, a charger, or a controller too early because the symptom looked obvious. But if you have not proven the failure path, that purchase is still a guess. The expensive mistake is replacing parts in the wrong order. Evidence first, parts second. That one rule keeps you from turning a simple fix into a much bigger problem. And there is a hard stop boundary. If you see swelling, strong odor, visible damage, exposed wiring, or anything that makes the battery look unsafe, stop home testing. Do not keep probing a damaged pack just to get one more answer. At that point, the risk is bigger than the diagnosis. The right move is to step back and get professional help or follow the battery maker's safety guidance. Safety comes before the checklist. One more thing, bike design changes the next safe branch. Some e-bikes place the charge port on the pack, some on the frame, and some route the power path in a way that changes what you should check first. So the general map gets you oriented, but the layout decides your next move. That is why you should not force one diagnosis onto every bike. The design tells you where the evidence should lead. By now, the evidence should point you toward one of 4 paths: charger, port, battery, or professional verification. If the charger light and port look wrong, start there. If the battery shows warning signs, stop and verify safely. If the connections look good, but the bike still fails, the controller or BMS may be part of the picture. The key is to follow the evidence, not the cheapest guess. So remember the order. First comes the symptom. Then you trace the power path. Then you do safe external checks. After that, you use the evidence fork to narrow the cause. And if the pack looks damaged or the situation feels unsafe, you stop. That sequence matters because it keeps you from swapping parts too early. Diagnosis gets easier when you follow the system instead of the noise. If you want the full charging checklist, I've linked the related guide for the complete step-by-step walkthrough. https://ebikedelight.com, How to Charge Your E-Bike Battery, a simple guide. Use it as your next reference before you buy parts or open anything risky.